I invited you to my new wedding.
Not out of joy, but quiet pleading. A silent cry behind the grace.
To see if pain would show on your face. You came, dressed in gold and pride.
While storms of old love swirled inside. Your eyes met mine, a fleeting glance. A world of words lost in a chance. They cheered for me, they called it fate. Yet in my soul, it felt too late. For every vow that passed my tongue
belonged to songs we never sung.
I smiled for them, the crowd, the name. But deep within, it wasn't the same. And though I wed beneath the sky, my heart still asks you why, just why.
I invited you to my new wedding. Not for joy nor celebration,
but to test if your silence
was stronger than your hesitation.
You walked in with grace,
draped in beauty and calm,
while I stood beneath the canopy,
hiding a storm behind my palm. The guests saw my smile.
A man fulfilled, a prince in peace.
But they didn't see the ashes
of a fire that would never cease.
You clapped when I entered.
You smiled with the crowd. But I saw it, the flicker, like thunder beneath a cloud. The bride took her place,
and the music began. But the echoes of us
still danced with the band.
I spoke the words, I gave the vow.
But my heart was caught in the past somehow. Each syllable was heavy with grief,
as if love itself sought some relief. Do you remember our promises, whispered in moonlit air? Now they lay between us, unspoken, still there. You watched me promise forever to someone who wasn't you.
And in your silence, I saw the tears you swore you'd never do. Not all weddings are victories.
Not all smiles mean we won. Sometimes we marry to forget. Sometimes, just to move on. But tonight, I remembered what it meant to feel alive.
And though I stood with another, it's your name my heart revived.
I invited you to my new wedding. Not to show I've healed or grown, but because, even in my beginning, you are the end I've always known.
The drums faded slowly, and the hall returned to light.
But the weight on my chest still pressed like the desert at night.
I held her hand with honor. She deserved all that's mine. But the heart is not a throne that obeys the crown or time.
She looked at me with hope,
a future written in her eyes. While behind her, your silence whispered 1,000 goodbyes. They say a man must move forward,
that royalty does not cry. But what of a man who once loved and watched that love die?
I am the son of falcons,
born of fire and sand.
Yet in your absence I crumbled, like a castle built by hand. They crowned me with roses, but thorns wrapped around my soul.
And as I danced with my new bride, you're the rhythm I couldn't control. Why did you come? Why were that smile so sweet? To prove you've healed? Or to watch me admit defeat? I invited you to witness,
to see if you'd still care. But you stood like a shadow,
a ghost in the desert air.
The poets may call this fate, a tale of what was not meant.
But between you and me,
it was never an accident.
I gave you my name in silence. You wore it once in dreams.
Now it echoes through empty halls,
and in my every royal scheme. Tonight, I wore golden glory.
But beneath it all, I bled.
For no crown, no bride, no wedding song could silence what you said.
And though I smiled for the world,
as any proud prince should do, know this, beloved. This wedding wasn't for her. It was always for you.
The guests are gone, the hall now still.
The echo of laughter begins to chill.
She sleeps behind a veil of dreams, while I sit alone with silent screams.
The incense fades, the candles die, but you still burn behind my eye. No perfume masks what's true and deep. Some memories never sleep. They call it honor, this path I tread. But what's a crown when love has fled? The gold is heavy, the throne is wide. Yet there's a grave where my heart should reside. I remember our nights, no diamonds, no dress. Just the moon and your voice, whispering yes. We were poor in promises, rich in fire. Living off hope, breathing desire. Now I dine beneath crystal light. But hunger still finds me every night. Not for food, nor fame, nor pride. But for the soul I cast aside. I invited you to my new wedding, thinking closure might come near. But your presence carved a deeper wound, more sharp than any tear. You didn't cry. You didn't fall. You stood with grace, above it all. And that broke me more than your goodbye. You lived, while I still die. They say a man must learn to let go, to write his name in royal snow. But how do I free what never left? How do I heal from love's own theft? You were the poem I never wrote, the melody trapped in a silent note. And though another holds my hand, it's your voice that still commands. Will you ever know the truth I hide? That in every vow, it was you I denied? Not to hurt, not out of shame, but because I couldn't bear your name. This wedding was a mirror, clear and cruel, showing me the heart's one rule. You can dress in silk, smile with pride, but real love, it never hides. So I invited you, not for the end, but because I still needed a friend. Not to say we're done, or farewell, but to prove that I lived through hell. And now, beneath the royal sky, with all the stars and titles high, I make peace with what won't depart. I lost you, but you still have my heart. If time were not a river, if love could wait and stay, perhaps you'd wear this crown tonight, and not just pass my way. In another life, with fewer rules, where hearts lead more than names, you'd be the bride I wait to see. Not just a guest who came, but life writes in sand and wind, and fate folds dreams in half. It tests the ones who love the most, then hides behind a laugh. You smiled at me across the room, with grace I didn't earn, and in your silence I could feel a love that still did burn. But you said nothing, showed no tear, no trembling of your grace, and somehow that cut deeper still than if you'd left the place. I stood where all could see me, with honor, pride,